really we're just building our skill set of how to Google what did Facebook do this time.
All right, we're live. Awesome. For the live folks, and for folks on, I already talked to them a little bit. For the live folks, this is our 1-year anniversary of running these classes. And I thank everybody that has been part of our Zoom, that you guys all probably have gotten to know because we talked to them and they've been participating. You get to see them participate, which has been great. Huge thanks to Simon Louis for the garage and for all the effort put into technical stuff all through this year. Without the technical stuff and space and all of that, we really now it has grown. The use of footwork drills and things have really grown through the society. It'd be interesting once we get back to practice how many people keep with it. But I think for most part, I've gotten a lot of great feedback. All the time, people come up and ask it, and thanking and saying that they do the videos outside our normal group. So thank you again. So we're going to go through our normal drills just because it's been probably 2 weeks or more for a lot of people through the holiday season. We'll get warmed up. Next week, we're going to change them up a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of time, 20-second drills, and we're going to add a couple of bursting drills with feet to give us a little bit of burst. Some of those drills we may or may not be able to do, depending on the height of your ceiling. But for most of them, as long as your hands are down, even height shouldn't matter because there's just going to be some. Basically, we're going to add some drills like jumping drills to get some burst in our feet, and there's some switching drills, which is going to be essentially. And we'll do those. For each one of those for about 20 seconds, we'll work on that drill. And that way we're going to add a little bit of endurance, a little bit more burst, and still the good stretching and strengthening we need. All right, let's start with our first one. Body weight squats, once again. Everybody likes squats. Last night on the episode, everybody was so excited they wanted to do them right there and then. More squats, that's all I hear. All right, so remember flat foot squats. The idea, if you have a ball or something heavy that can help you sit easier, but the idea is just go down as far as you can. If you can only go this far, that's fine. Be careful.
You could use a helmet instead of the ball.
Yeah, you could use a helmet. We all have that. So the idea is it just helps you balance a little bit. But for those that don't need it, that's fine. Just go down to where it doesn't hurt. And let's get about 15 of those in. One nice part about having something a little heavier in front of you, it helps keep your knees back a little bit there's a big argument about knees over toes. We've gone into it before. We will be doing some knees over toes. There's pluses and minuses around it. There's some great sites on it. We, for most part, through a year of practice, we have found that the exercises we do aren't destroying people, they're actually helping people. So
it's about stability.
Yeah.
If you put together enough control and stability in your knees and your legs to keep them from wobbling and going all sideways, then you can get away with being up here. But most of the reason that they tell you not to do knees over toes is most people, when they go past their toes,
their knee goes inside or outside.
It starts turning in weird directions, and that's torquing your knee ligaments.
Exactly. All right, so this time we're going to work on toes. So everybody on the balls of your feet. Sifrid. Oh, sorry, I didn't want to call you out or anything. So this exercise, Sifrid, you're going to try to stay on the balls of your feet the whole time along with everybody else. So start out. Go ahead and push up for a second, right onto the toes. This is shifting the weight from the balls of your feet into your toes. Your big toes, and you should feel your toes starting to engage the floor. And then all the way down, the idea is keep your back nice and straight. Want to stay nice and stacked. Again, we're still on the balls of our feet, no heels. This allows us to keep our back straight. this way, and then back up. And then back up to your balls of your feet, and then push. And back down. So let's go ahead and do about 15 of those. And this is a balance exercise, so if you need a chair or a table next to you, go ahead and do it at first. You'll find that you gain balance over time, no different than a lot of yoga things. No different than a bar in ballet or any dance.
Yeah, the trick to using it as an aid and not a crutch is like take 2 fingers and put it on the chair. Don't grip it for dear life and lean on it. It's just a little bit. Keep you from falling over.
So again, next week we're going to really learn to burst from those toes, because we're going to do a little bit of hopping. We're going to go down, we're going to come up, and then pop up. That's going to get some burst right into your calves and such. All right, next one. Either foot, doesn't matter. The idea here is usually you start in your normal stance, and then you go ahead, and we're going to push. Try to keep that knee over the toe. Be careful on turning them out or in. That's where the weakness occurs. And you're going to, again, shift to the ball of your foot, then all the way to the toes a little bit. And the idea, again, is you notice I'm keeping that back straight. The hips are forward, not this, where now I got an angle up in my body. You can see hips forward, and then all the way back. Now you can go right under your heels. Doesn't matter. And let's go ahead and get 15 of those in. Really focus on feeling the toe engage. In this exercise too, it's not a scenario where you come up at the end. So a lot of times what happens is, if you watch my head here, I go down into my front leg, and then I come up into my back leg and straighten my legs. You want those knees bent the whole time. It's okay if you go down into this leg a little bit. Sometimes it helps for power, actually. And then when you go back, you still want those legs bent. And then you can shift. You're just rocking chair between these two. Everybody on here, really engage those toes. Push yourself. If you can, even lift that back foot off the ground once or twice. See how those toes engage. I know it is. It's hard. It's hard to dig into those toes and then let them do their nice move.
Remember how last night on that episode we talked about how I didn't reach my goals and then kind of gone backwards? This is
the backwards.
This is, things have gone sideways. So, new year, new goal, fix it.
There you go.
Get back on track.
So in the power dynamic of throwing a sword, a lot of times we shift to this toe. Now in our style, we got forward hands. So when we shift, look at my hand's actually not changing distance. It doesn't, as I go forward, my hand doesn't go forward. This is where my shoulder cocks into position as I'm leaning over this toe. And because I'm taking it down into the ground just slightly, now I can twist and burst forward. Shoulder cock, that whole line of power engaged. All right, switch feet. So this is a good one later if you feel like you're having an issue with generating this timing. You can do this right in front of your pel. You can start here. You can shift all the way over on this toe, throw a shot, and then shift back. And that arm changes, tries to keep the hand in that same position. Even after I get here, I'll throw a blow. My hand comes back to this position and comes back out. Right? So here I am, bang. And as I fall, you can even just fall back in that position, but your hand doesn't come all the way back with you. It's as you fall back into that position, it stays out, and then you adjust that. So you have a whatever distance you want that in. But this is a good one to learn to get this timing and then back. This is totally about controlling range onto your opponent. This is still one of the, probably the weakest ones that I've seen in a lot of the videos. A lot of you guys sent me videos. Is this, all of these little quick transitions. Lean into your opponent while you're fighting and take it away. Lean, move, lean, take it away. Get far range, lean, pop, roll into a different corner. But what's happening a lot of times is we want to get our body into that position where we can throw. There's not a lot of lean and fall into our opponent's that we are getting. So be aware of that. All right, I think we're on to our drills.
To the ladder?
To the ladder.
To the ladder. All right. So, we know and love these. We're going to dive right in. 2-foot run. I'm going to start with my left foot. And then repeat on the other foot. Feel that? Yes. Okay. And backwards. I'm going to start with my left foot again.
Yeah. Nice. And Bess is doing these. She's shifting, coming forward, shifting, going back. So if you're by yourself, you can totally do that.
And also I'm going to throw out there as a note, if anybody is joining us for the first time on Facebook or later on rewatching this, because getting excited for the new year, we've been doing these drills for a while, so we're not like going into full teaching mode with them right now. We have lots and lots of other videos where we do break them down intensely. If you are a new person watching and you need that instruction, you can dig through our old videos or just message us, comment on the Facebook feed, whatever, we'll get you that info.
All right.
Stop trying to switch to. It was so good.
Oh, yeah? Wilfrick was
Cranky.
Oh, Cranky was Cranky. Yeah, that's right. Here he goes again. Do it again.
Sorry.
Do it again. We're going to make you work.
We're showing you off.
And for everybody that needs to know, he has mad sewing skills, too. He actually sent me a wonderful, hey! I think his sewing skills might be better than his feet right now. He sent me a wonderful hand-sewn Viking tunic for Christmas.
Ooh.
I know.
You have to show that off. Okay, moving on. Next one we have hopscotch.
Our favorite. Not.
So, stay down.
Yeah, let's work it. All of you know how to work this one.
This is all in and out.
Yeah. It's a new year.
To artificially pretend we're starting anew. Hooray!
That's right. We can throw a little effort in these. Nice, Nessa. Whew. Nice transition, too.
We got Germanicus killing it over here.
Yeah, remember to bend those knees a little bit. Nice job. Good transition, Germanicus. All right, Sigrid. Crushing it.
Okay. Up next, moving into all of our basic drop step moves, starting with our basic skiers. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I'm just gonna shift my hips, Take that open, close step.
Nice, William. Get into those legs a little harder, Will. There we go. That way you get those bigger, harder pushes. Good. And backwards. Remember, look for that fall. It's all about those hips. And you can change them, like Louis showed us this summer. Go ahead.
I think we already saw everyone doing backwards, but just in case you didn't, do them backwards. And again, because I can.
Nice. It's amazing how much smoother everybody is on change-ups. I remember when we first started doing those, I was having a rough time with them.
Which is hilarious, because it's stuff you've done for like ever.
Oh, I know.
But when we tried formalizing it,
Yeah, it became
you
a
weren't
shit
just
show.
doing it automatically.
Exactly. My mind was like, I gotta think about this now? Forget that.
Right, so next we're going to move into the wide skier. So just going.
Did we do the 20-foot ones? Or did they, or there's change up all the time?
I do these first.
Okay, good.
Typically. So wide skier, we start outside the ladder and we get a little bit lower and just do the same thing, but with a wider side to side.
Right, so on this one, the key is be careful of getting your feet back together on the outside. Try to stay in the stance. So the idea is I'm back in stance. You're gonna it's all about the timing of the fall and then the push. Because now we're adding a lot more push.
Right at the last second as you're stepping off that outside foot.
Every once in a while, go ahead and stop and
Push
take
the toes just a little.
Exactly. And every once in a while, stop and take a look at where your feet position are. Make sure you're comfortable with your feet distance. And backwards. Yeah, sitting on this is very important.
I keep trying to stand up.
Ooh, slip. Remember that little bit of burst there, Nessa. There we go. Yes, better. I can see the pop. Nice, Wilfred. That's not Wilfred, sorry. Keep doing that, Craig. Nice job. You have a really nice pop. It's a good thing Wilfred is a good fighter too. It's better than it's a good thing Wilfred's a good fighter too. It's better than calling you somebody that's not, right?
I don't know, I think I'd be flattered if people confused me for my night.
There you are.
I'd be okay with that. Kinda, until I got beat up a little hard.
Nice, Bess. Watch those feet coming too close together outside those boxes. I know you don't have much of a choice there. You don't got a lot of room. There. That's nice. All right. Did we do those backwards already? Yeah. Okay.
All right, so next we're gonna go into the shuffle version. So now it's the same shift that we were doing with the drop step, but we're gonna move that outside leg first.
Yeah, this one's a little tricky. It's funny you get those two kind of mixed up. But again, the idea is that foot comes across. Do not turn your hip. Don't point your toe across.
Yeah.
That heel and foot should stay linear to the line. Try to balance yourself at the end of this. Find the center, because if you're leaning one way or the other and not centered, you're sometimes unable to throw. So this is the tuning of this. Find that good center of your body. Find that one foot doesn't have all the weight on it. And backwards is just behind. Outside foot comes behind, follows forward. And then, of course, like all of you are doing, the idea is you can switch it back and forth like Louis was. Change up the pattern. Because that's a big part in a fight, is changing up patterns. If your opponent can pattern you, which is a normal thing every person does with an opponent, then it becomes easier for them to figure out what you're doing and take advantage of that. Very nice. Go ahead and do a breaking pattern one. Good. All right. So we can go ahead and move on to the next one.
All right. Now we're going to take that same shuffle and we're going to add our angle. So now this is the pretend you're going around your imaginary opponent.
And this again is very important, which way you're pointing your toes. As you can see, when her foot comes across, it's pointed at the 45 she's trying to turn into. This is a very big part of the problem with a lot of fighters, is that they're naturally trying to turn around or go through something, but their toes end up not pointed. So if I don't point my toes and I just do straight, then my body starts to straighten out. If I point my toes really far across, then I take a bigger turn. So toes important. Now, got to be careful. Some people, because of knee issues, can only point them so far. So the idea is once you hit that ground in front of you, point it down the ladder, and then as you go, turn on the ball of your foot. Yeah. You'll find that most of that turn actually can happen in the air with your hips. So your knees doesn't need to be so involved. You actually end up in the air. Here I pop my hip.
And in the air can still mean my toe is on the ground and it's just pivoting.
But
You're still 90% airborne.
Exactly.
You're just kind of doing one of these.
Yep. And that reduces that stress on that knee turning.
Takes the torque out of the knee.
Exactly.
And backwards. Thank you, Louis. I forgot.
Same thing. Foot goes behind, turn on a 45, and make that change.
This one is exceptionally prone to leaning forward and sticking your butt out. You gotta watch.
Very nice. Best, hopefully this little bit of exercise will burn that sickness out of you. Burn that cough out of your lungs. I know me and Rongal are big about that. Good part about Craig here is he's actually throwing, he's turning and he's throwing a little bit of a shot in there. That's something, again, that shadow boxing portion of this is absolutely something you can add to it. So I may, as I'm going backwards here, I may think, okay, I'm going to throw, first one I'm going to throw leg. Second one I'm going to throw an offside, right? So you can create the shot you want to throw each time. Bang, 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 bang. Good part about that shadow boxing piece is it allows you to start practicing hand and motion together. The more you practice those together, the less you have to think about them once you get into a fight. This is the reason why people practice combinations.
Alrighty, looks like we are ready to move on to our 3-step. So we're facing straight again, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and now we're just taking that step forward and shuffle step across.
And you can actually see she almost touches her heel there, touches her feet. So the idea is you're here, almost kick it away.
Don't recommend that as your full-time.
But again,
but
your hip is what's actually moving. Actually, I had to do this the other day because I was doing it wrong.
Yeah.
I had to fix my feet because I was finding myself going over it and doing the other wrong one. The touching the three step, where you kind of, here you are, step, touch your feet, or replace your feet.
He's talking about literally kicking your heels together to force the movement, to force the feet placement where it's supposed to be.
And then later, once you know those, Nessa's giving us a shaking of the head. Are those bad for you? Now watch. See how Nessa's doing? Oh, those aren't neat. I can see. There you go. That's fine. You don't even have to bring your feet all the way together.
Yeah, like I said, it's a good learning tool to force your feet to go to the right spot. I don't recommend it as the actual final technique that you try and do on the field.
Later on, what this ends up being is a little bit, you can see Louis is actually, his foot is leaving the ground as the other one's coming into that position. So you actually get this replacement idea. So here you are, you're stepping. As this one's coming here, your weight is carrying you right out already. So the feet don't actually need to touch, but that timing is all there. And then you can see as Louis was doing it, even as that timing, he takes that step. Not only is he replacing that foot, but he's maybe getting a little bit farther as he's coming across. So I take that step, and I go from one side of the ladder to the next. I go on the line, I'm still touching my feet, but in the air, I'm letting my body kind of go across.
Yeah, as we have said at various points in time, all of the shuffle things and later the crossfoot things, which come naturally out of the shuffle, get you a lot more side to side. They are your big side-to-side movements because geometry says so.
So the reason I did that, I was chatting with somebody, and I remembered something Ron Balder said. So I was trying to keep my body more neutral.
Yeah.
So trying to move less things more extreme and trying to move everything less. So since my center is moving, then my foot replacing makes my body move a little bit less.
Exactly.
My feet reach a little bit less.
Yeah, and I think the other good part about that is visually it's smaller.
Right, it looks that you want the appearance that it's smaller.
Exactly. And that's a good point. We're going to talk a little bit more about smallness at some point, but the idea of making stuff look small makes it very difficult for your opponent to see. So, an example of the big, long rolling throw is big, easier to see. Doesn't mean that it's not good. There are times that you do that, and there's times that you make that work, but it's bigger, it's easier to see. Where disguising a small block, Louis is going to throw something at me, and I do this, he immediately thinks in his head, it's like, I'm going to tear his leg off. But if I do this, he's like, shit. Right? Now I don't have nothing to do. He's like totally solid. And that thought complex starts happening. And then you're breaking down the idea that you can actually hit this guy. And in his head, he gets some doubt. He's like, man, that was a good block. That was a good fake from me, but I didn't see nothing out of it. So now what's next? So the idea is you're starting to break down the mental cycle in the fight. So that's the idea behind big and small.
Yeah.
So also with keeping small, if you do that 2 forward, 1 back, or 2 back, 1 forward, and repeat those, if you're starting to pendulum a little bit, you'll feel that you're way out of position, out of balance when you change direction. So I think that will also help trying to train that staying more neutral and keeping smaller.
And I think that's a really good point. We don't talk about it a lot. We just do these. But the idea is we just talked about making sure when you switch into something that you're balanced in the center or that you're finding that neutral. And this is exactly what Louis is talking about is staying in that neutral. Because sometimes people pendulum and then they're over here. And my body's leaning, then I'm over here.
Right, and it's a visual tell.
Yeah.
So you're telling your opponent.
Looking at the side of your head going, whoo!
Exactly. And it's harder to throw from that position, right?
Right.
Because it's not a normal position you're in. So you lose some power, you lose some opportunity. So that's a good reminder, Louis.
All right, so as we said, the crossover step sort of falls right in line after these shuffles. So we're going to do that one next. So it's again, we're stepping forward, but now we're crossing all the way behind, keeping our hips straight, not letting them doing this.
Again, that's all about where your toe is pointed.
And staying down. The lower you can comfortably sit in your squat, more squats.
And the more range you get.
Yeah, the more you can keep facing forward and the wider you can get because your legs have more room to move.
Nice, Craig. That's exactly it. So you're bursting into those, which I really like getting that small. You got nice, tall, long legs. You're side to side for people is really difficult. Nice, Casey. That's the way. Watch the pendulum. Yep, there it goes. You're back in the center. Good. Very good, William. Now I want all of you to push this a little bit more. In other words, I really want you to dig in. I want you to drop an extra inch or two and look for the burst and not the flow. In other words, really burst into it like I'm going to surprise my opponent, right? So it's like, which one we do? The step behind.
Crossover. Yeah, cross behind.
Find that center again. Oops.
Is it just a cross or the step behind cross? Step forward cross?
Yeah, where it's the 3-step, but you're crossing behind.
Right.
So we're starting with a step forward just to move us down the ladder.
Sit first really hard. Get into those legs. Good.
Same one for more range.
Yeah, exactly. And what I'm looking for out of this one is a little more power generation in those legs. That power generation is going to help your power generation in the source.
And then don't forget to do it backwards if you haven't yet.
Really work on trying to find that center you're talking about.
It's like Louis is showing us what kind of crazy side-to-side range you can get.
Yep.
You gotta do this on wet grass.
No.
Oh yeah, wet grass is not the place to practice your extremes.
But if I bet if you practice this on wet grass, you would learn
Find your
to
center.
not land on your first step as early, so that you stay in balance when you land.
Yeah. We found that last week or a couple weeks ago on that wood floor at the practice site. Because we were sliding all over the place.
That was me at Schwitz, man. I couldn't keep my feet under me.
The good part about what we're doing here is if you have a floor that's particularly slippery,
Okay.
you're centered, your balance is centered. When you slip on floors the most is when something steps out and you're leaning, that foot goes. Or even worse, if you're here and you're leaning, it goes the other way. Right?
Or the whole thing slides and you just keep going.
Right. And if you're centered, the good part is as we do that, here we are, I'm centered. I might slide with this, but my body's centered. I just have to make sure I don't panic.
The whole assembly slides.
Exactly. And make sure you don't panic because you'll try to make adjustments in the slide, and that's actually where you end up losing it. Trust that your balance is there.
Oh yeah, the cool part for me at Schwitz was I could tell I was doing a decent job keeping centered because the times that my foot slipped was, I'm here and I'm like going to make that hard push and the foot just slides and I'm still just here.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, never mind.
Exactly.
Instead of it being oh no, and I'm on the ground because
Exactly.
my foot went.
And it's interesting because like a lot of candle masses that the floors are slippery. Literally, I'm doing this big long jump and I'm sliding. Foot is sliding an extra foot. I strike and then I turn out of them. But I know that what's going to happen and I can be comfortable and totally controlled of my mind, not surprised, and just have that part of my flow.
It's kind of like a hockey skater doing a sliding stop.
Yeah, because you don't think about it, right?
Right, and if you're new and you haven't done it before and you try to do that, you're gonna fall.
Oh yeah, yeah, one way or the other.
So yeah, slippery grass and floors is where you practice the center because you'll know when you're doing it right.
Exactly. A good way to see that is watch new people and when they're on slippier items, and if you're teaching them, make sure they're taking smaller steps. That'll keep their hips under them better.
Something else that I just tried, if you do this 3-step with the cross, when you land on your first foot, try not to have the center of your body mass move anymore. So once your foot touches, try to keep your center where it's at. So if you end up having your center too short and it needs to go farther out, then touch the foot down a little bit later.
All right.
Next one, we're going to go to our, speaking of center, we're going to do the 4-step, which is our just sort of multiple drop steps in a row. And this is all about, I'm just gently shuffling my center around. Just using my feet to stay under the center as it moves.
So when you're teaching this one and you have a group, this is a good one where you can actually go the length of the ladder, and you can also learn that connection. In other words, at first we just say go, and we're going to go down one end and back. So we're just teaching to keep, there's a small connection happening here. Now I'm going to be the person leading, she's going to be following, we're going to make a good connection. That's okay.
I'm just a little.
Okay. So this is a good way to not only teaching that nice, even balance shuffle that Louie's been talking about, finding that balance, but it's also teaching a layer of connection.
It's also really good for building lateral stability, which is what most of us are lacking when we get knee injuries, because the lateral part was not supported. Building that up will help you avoid knee injuries or help you deal with any that you currently have.
So that right when he went offline, we should have flat snapped him.
Huh?
Right when he went offline, you were a little bit on you when he lost connection was when he should have flat snapped him.
Oh.
That's actually, you're right.
Yes.
You are right.
I'm gonna go ahead and do this one backwards because I didn't do that yet. So. The way we do this, forwards and backwards are not that different.
No.
It's such a shallow angle. That's something you could play with if you want, is using steeper angles forward and backwards.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Like you can skip a rung on the ladder just by shifting your balance farther.
Once you're comfortable with this one, which everybody in the Zoom right now is pretty comfortable with it, start playing with deeper angles forward and backwards on that.
And if you want to make sure you're not cheating the angles, sometimes pause when you're on the outside. And if you start to fall, you cheated.
Again, if you want, yeah, that's nice. That's a way to kind of see that Craig is adding distance in those, in between those now, which is good because what this is teaching us is this kind of, I'm literally pushing my center further forward. And then my feet are coming along with me. And back, I'm just dropping back into my seat a little bit more. But that's that center of line balance that we talk about when we're learning to go backwards or we're learning to go forward. And just so you can see, when I do this, right? So here I am, I'm going backwards. Now hips goes forward. Same thing, but in movement.
Okay, so now that we started doing a little bit of quick feet there with those, we're going to move into all of our other quick feet exercises. So all of our in and out outs. We're going to start with our lateral. So in the ladder, add ladder. Repeat the next box.
Again, two ways to do this. One is kind of that fast method, which you and the center tends to go in and out. We don't get as much distance. The other is making sure you're shifting in and out.
As always, get the lower your forward backward shift will be. Lower, try and get a little bigger.
And Craig is not feeling the idea maybe your opponent is too close and you want to clear a little bit of room. You can essentially make that two small steps back, throw your shot, and then you can step back into a corner if you want.
Right.
So just real quick,
Oh, yep.
if Louis, so if Louis is on me here, you have long arms, it's actually difficult sometimes here. So the idea here would be actually provide a freezing motion, fall out, bang, and then back into that corner with small feet, right? So you're creating room, and then you're taking it back away. But now you're controlling that distance a little better.
Righty. So it looks like everybody can go on to the next one is our forward in and out out. So now body's going to move in a smooth straight line down the ladder. We're just shifting our feet in and out underneath us. This is all on the balls of your feet.
Yeah, make sure, Simran.
Slamming your heels down every time, you're never going to get it up as fast. And don't forget on this one, you lead once with your left leg and once with your right leg, all going forward. The one side will feel really weird.
Nice, William. That's fast. You and Louis are going to have a speed race someday.
Ladder's World Olympics.
Exactly. I still gotta get that with this.
Nice, Nessa.
That's the way, Nessa.
Nice, straight line.
Nice change back and forth, too. I love how Craig's body is like perfectly smooth through it. This is crazy feet.
Quads go. Every time.
Yeah.
You gotta get better. Oh. All right. Next, we're going to move into our jump. So in my stance, I'm just going to take that front foot, jump forward into the ladder, and back out. I'm doing that sideways down the ladder. You have a small space from one side of the ladder to the other. Work with what room you got. And don't forget to switch feet and do it again with the other leg forward. As Louis showed, you can do that without stopping.
Remember to keep your feet forward.
Try to get the whole body in and out.
And keep your foot straight. Make sure you're not turning it. So I will show you.
Yeah, think about on the don't end up sideways. We're not doing a side to side jump. I'm fighting someone over there, fighting someone over here. And then also whole body forward and back. We're not doing a stick the foot out. Where my shoulders stay here the whole time. I'm getting closer and back out.
And two variations, in and out at the same time, and then pushing in from the back foot, pushing out from the front foot.
So that's the first variation. In other words, you push, you're in. Push out. Yeah, push in, push out. Now show them the other one. We don't do that one. Yeah. So in that case, he's actually using more of his weight of his body to drive that chain than necessarily to push off the back foot scenario. And Louis has a longer version of this where we do the long jab. We'll show you then where that back foot comes up and he takes that step. So that's a good one to remember as well. But we'll do that in a long drill, remember.
Can you show that again, please, Bronis?
The the switching foot long.
The one he just did.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Louis because he does it better than I do.
Okay.
So- Right, we were just doing,
Come over here. There.
so there's both feet at the same time where they both push and they both land. And to get in, maybe your center's a little bit forward.
And you're
And
just
to go
falling
out,
onto it. Yep.
You're kind of, you're falling into the direction like we do the drop step. So I'd be sliding my back, then pushing with both feet, slide my center forward, pushing with both feet.
So now show them the way you do your long one, where your
Your
foot comes
special
up.
extra shuffle,
Right, and then the other one is,
sneaky extra range.
it's like doing the drop step forward and backward. I shift my weight and I pick up my front foot, push off the back one. Then I shift my weight back, pick up the back foot, push off the front one.
Right. So now that's the normal jab. I think she wants to see that long one where you
That's
instead
long.
long, you do this foot comes up to this one as you're coming forward. But I think it's important that what he just showed you,
They're the same thing.
they're the same thing, but one is longer. That's
Right, so the normal way we do the long one is push off, basically lift up the front foot, let your body weight start falling, and then push the back one. Or start shifting your body weight forward.
right. And that step could be relatively small. It's almost like a shuffle, where here I am, I'm starting to lean forward, and then I lift, both feet come up, this foot replaces this one.
It's,
Kind of like a skip, really, right?
it's the difference between.
But you get a lot more range off of that.
Yeah,
Right.
our fundamental sort of two motions is, again, disclaimer, this is our terminology, it will be different everywhere you go, but what we have been calling a gather all along is my feet go further apart, or here, I'll face clear. Further apart and then back together is what we have called a gather, whereas a shuffle is where they come closer together and then go further apart. And the fundamental difference there, as Louis is showing, is a shuffle can inherently get you further because I'm here and then I still have this entire range if I want. Whereas with a gather where I'm going wide first,
It's all about burst.
this is it. This is as far as I can go. And then I'm just catching this one up. So he's getting you your extra range in that shuffle by coming together and then going.
Right, so just more clear terminology, when our feet go apart, it's really a step then a gather,
Yes.
and the other way is a gather then a step.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just changing the order.
Yep.
It's like we sort of standardized on terminology without it necessarily being the mostest correctest, and that's probably my fault. That's why we try and launch into these explanations sometimes, just to make sure we're being clear.
And there's plus and minuses on both. Because that back foot's not leaving the ground, you're shifting all of your body. A burst is one motion, where a gather and burst is actually two motions happening. Because that back foot comes forward in the gather, both feet are kind of lifting up, you've got two motions in that. So it's really subtle, but it also depends on the range you have. I might decide, well, like, I can't make that big, but if I do a little shuffle with that, I can make it big.
So a step gather is usually quicker, and a gather step is usually longer range.
Yeah.
It's a little slower, more controlled, but longer range.
Exactly.
All right, so getting back to our standard set of drills, we're gonna do switch foot next. So this one, my body is gonna float straight down the side of the ladder, and I'm just switching my feet underneath me, keeping my hips facing across the ladder this way. They're not twisting.
I like, Beth posted something, she's like, a year ago I had no clue what my feet are doing. And now, yeah, I don't know, sometimes it's good when you don't know what's going on with your feet. It's like, because then you don't know you're making mistakes. But now you're like, damn it!
And then change the direction.
Yep, in both directions.
And try to keep your body center moving in a straight line.
And keep
No
your
bouncing.
balls of your feet again.
All right, so next, wait, well, we still got some people going, I'll give it a second.
Sigurd's working on the balls of feet exercise.
Yes, he gave you a big thumbs up. All right, Next one we're doing is that 2 forward, 1 back that Louis was talking about earlier, or it doesn't have to be 2 and 1, it's just a bigger motion forward and a smaller motion back. So we're in our stance, we're doing that big jab jump forward, and then a smaller one backwards. Big one forward, small one backwards.
And we're gonna try Louis after this.
So we're gonna do the step gather,
Yep.
and the gather step.
Exactly. Again, don't turn your foot in. Your foot should still be pointing in an angle outside your opponent's toe. Or at least straight at them.
Yeah. Ideally, it's line up facing an opponent who is there in your proper stance, and wherever your toes are for that proper stance, that's where they need to point through this whole thing. So if your stance is like slightly turned out or one foot is slightly out, cool. Just maintain that.
If you want more range, you might have to go a little deeper in the knees.
And then be sure and make it nice and balanced. Swap your stance to whatever your funny foot is. So other foot forward than what you did last time, and do it again.
Nice. So much better at it than outside.
Huh?
You're so much better at it.
Yeah, I'm purposely doing them a little bit smaller so I can stay on
You
right.
look pretty big, huh?
Also, my calves are
Fire.
And then backwards.
on fire.
Make Ron Valder proud of you.
Yes. Always do backwards for Ron Valder. Even if he's not here to appreciate it, he knows in his heart that we're doing this just for him.
That's right, let me watch.
It's kind of like Santa Claus.
It's one of his special ducal powers, is knowing when someone does a backwards drill just for him.
Again, on this, the key is going straight back. Don't pop up in the air as you're doing these.
The other key is knowing where your garage door is so you
Yes.
don't run into it.
Or Craig's idea of the door of
Or the edge
farm.
of your list. We want to be more correct. Okay, nope, that leg won't do it.
No.
Yeah, screamed.
Yeah.
So, that one isn't happening today. Another day.
All right. So Louis is going to show us the skipping one.
Yeah. Your shuffle step.
So the
Virgin.
gather step.
And then back. Ooh, that back is going to be a bitch. And we don't do the back normally on this one, by the way, but we're going to add it.
And you can do it nice and small. I'll try and figure it out.
This will break your brain a little bit, maybe.
Hey, it's good.
If it's not something you're used to.
It isn't something we're used to.
We're finding some people the shuffle steps just make more sense to them and it all just goes and that's awesome. But a lot of us are not used to those and it doesn't come so easily.
Ooh. Yeah, is this breaking everybody's brain? That's the way. Ah, I forgot the shuffle. Get Craig, get that shuffle in there. There we go, good. Let's see how Bess is doing. Nice, Everett. Now you gotta add, just think about bringing your back foot up first. Bess. Okay, do it nice and slow. Back foot to your heel. Yeah. Right? You don't actually have to take that big of a step if you don't want. Just bring it right up to where your other foot is. Right there. And then that one goes forward. Exactly. Yeah. And something you can do is if you want, is you can almost replace it. In other words, here you are, bring this back foot up to where your front foot is. Kind of like, so instead of doing a shuffle sideways here, we're doing a shuffle forward and back now. Exactly. So the idea is to think about this one in that shuffle idea. In other words, back foot comes forward, replaces. Louis we're on the garage door.
Scaring me, man. Well, and
Let's
as
stay
we're
on
all
tracks this time.
discovering by accident here, ultimately, you can combine these different steps when you're actually doing this in a fight. Maybe it's going to be real convenient to get that big giant shuffle step forward, but then I'm loaded to do
100%. So here
the
I
small
am.
one as-
I'm relaxed.
Yeah.
And then she can do that big shuffle step and then falls back out of range again.
Yeah, so I'm dodging, and now I'm also poised and ready to start going forward again. So, as with all of these, we break it down and we force you to do one specific little thing at a time during the drill. Ultimately, in your fight, it's going to be a mix of everything. The point is to drill in the muscle memories and make sure that you are capable of doing all the things so you have the full toolbox available.
That's
when
it.
you
So,
need it.
so in this one, the big piece is just learning that shuffle forward first. I think don't worry about the back step. The idea is just learning that shuffle. And that shuffle could be just replacing where your foot was, or it could be literally big shuffle. Get that range. Right? Or I could literally just put it where it was. And you can do that like straight in the block. Here I am. I'm in one of these boxes. I bring my foot in this box and go to the other one. Back. Box. 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 So here I'm going to go 2 boxes. 1 box. 2 boxes. 1 box. And then you switch your feet and you do it again. This breaks down that step for you. But again, this is a good one for everybody here because we haven't done this forward before. The good part is it should get relatively easier as you do it, because you know your footwork now. It's just breaking it down in your head. Nice, Nessa. Nice, Dramaticus. That was the way. That first one you did a really nice. There you go. Good job. That's the idea, Dramaticus. So sometimes you literally have to think about it. See, and the good part is now you switch over to Sibert. Sibert, keep doing what you're doing. So Sibert's changing these into 45s now. He's going from 45 to 90s. So the idea is we could change these all the time. Almost any of the steps we do to do different angles. Those angles are really just controlled by your center. Your feet are just getting naturally more comfortable in doing them.
All right.
That was a good exercise, because I haven't done that either. So.
Last ladder drill of the day, our turning step. So this is the 8 exercises in 1 exercise.
Mm-hmm.
In my stance, facing the ladder, I'm going to start with my front foot, and I'm going to step with the front foot, down the ladder, flip around the other way. So I'm starting with the hard one this time here.
Yes. But actually, that's the easier one for me.
Oh.
It's the short ones that kill me. Again, on this one, you got to be, if I'm on my flat of my foot and I try to turn, I am twisting my knee. This is why it's so important to be on the toes. Because now as I turn, I'm literally allowing that foot to turn naturally. So here I am. I take a big step. My step points, and then it turns, and then I'm back up. Points down the ladder, turns, back up. If I'm flat-footed, I don't turn here anymore. So there's a point in which your foot is twisting your knee, and that's not what you want. This is why it's so important when we're turning around opponents to be on the balls of your feet.
And if you're having trouble figuring out how to do the pivot and your foot is kind of digging in and torquing your knee, you can literally practice just the pivot part. Like just get in a stance, put the weight into those front toes and just pivot around. Small angles, big angles.
And make sure that heel turns.
Yeah, the heel's off the ground, you can see.
The heel is not touching at all. I know it's hard to see from the angle we're at, but like just get this down. Try it on both feet. Then work it into your ladder drills.
This is really
everything can be broken down further if it needs to.
Exactly, and this is really important because this helps the survival of that knee. When you see, here's a really bad habit I hate to see fighters do all the time. They're flat on their feet, and then they throw something, and and they tilt their knee in. Instead of lifting and turning their heel, they turn that knee in, and now my knee is inside my toe, way inside my toe. And even, I see this all the time when people are trying to throw in distance. It's like this knee is way in.
Turn around and lift up that side, show them what that back knee is doing.
Yeah, watch what this back knee, and we'll get our other camera out next week.
Flip and face.
There we go. Watch, see how that knee, my whole body's turning, but my foot is staying at a weird position, hurting that knee. So this is how people hurt themselves, is when I get hit here, my foot stays in, but my knee is turning out. By being on our toes better and being on the balls of our feet better, we save that. Also, the good part is your center saves that, because now your feet are following your center. The idea is, as your center moves, your hip and the body goes with it as well. So if I'm here and I want to get over here, my whole body turns into that position. It's not this. I'm not twisting, leaving my feet on the ground, and then trying to get over somewhere. All right, let's do these.
Putting that back into these. I'm starting with my back foot this time, and I'm just letting this foot pivot as I go.
And a good part here is you got two pivots happening, one on the front foot and one on the back foot. And you have a change of center. The center goes forward and then back, right in the middle of this step.
If you want to make it harder, stay on the balls of your feet the entire time.
Yeah, you can never put your heels down if you don't want to.
Which is probably good for some people having issues with finding themselves flat-footed. This would be a good practice on just learning to stay on the balls of those feet.
As you get better at that and get more used to it, you'll find that you can be on the balls of your feet and your heel is, 2 millimeters off the ground. It's not like it's way up high. So it will still look to the outsider like you're mostly flat-footed, but you can tell the difference in your feet and your balance. And then don't forget to switch feet and do your other stance. So for me, that's my right foot forward now.
Me and Louie just did it backwards. She got the right idea.
I'll do it backwards next.
Yeah.
I just happened to think of this and go, oh yeah, I'm supposed to do that. Like I said, there's 8 different versions of this, but
yeah.
You do both feet, both steps, forward and backwards. So do them in whatever order you feel like. It's actually good to mix it up sometimes. At some point in there, Nessa said, you guys just describing it is hurting my knee. We love you.
So Louie is doing the short step now. And then basically taking that front foot, stepping in. And this one you have to take a much smaller. This one actually I still have problems with. That back step really needs to be a big one. Really need to kind of flow with that turn. If you take too short of a back step, then you're going to want to switch.
I just try to think about it more like it's this. Like the legs stay with the hips on this one.
It's that big pivot.
So on this one, yeah, as long as you got your hips, you're really engaged those hips right.
Like you keep the distance between your feet and you just kind of rotate.
You kind of rotate them. That's a good way to think about it. It'll probably help me a little bit more.
Oh, geez.
Crossing step, rotate.
Front foot.
That's a new one.
No, I need to step with my back foot is the one I'm trying to do. And for some reason it's completely baffling me going this way.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, you have it.
I haven't done this in a while, can we tell? It's been a few weeks.
push up behind you. There you go. Bad with ladders.
Let's step out and we just keep going. That's a new one.
So this is one they do actually.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. That's like 100% calf right there.
Yeah, well, that's the idea. It's also balanced. You find, so this is what I've seen some boxers do. There's a lot of balance, and it's just, because now to get between those steps, you have to make sure you got forward balance. And then backwards, it's probably even harder because they got that backward bounce.
What?
And you can do this all the time to get legs. You can fight from one foot.
Exactly. Then you don't need to go to your knees anymore.
You can fight like this. It'll be great. You're gonna fall right into that door again.
Harder part on this one is actually trying to stay low while you do it and not fully extend. There you go. You got it. It's hard, isn't it?
Well, I'm going backwards.
You want to stand.
That's a hell of a trust exercise.
It is.
Because I want to do this real bad. Because just jumping backwards feels very unstable. I don't know if the left leg's gonna.
So let's see how you guys are doing. And Nessa, be careful of this one. Exactly. Not necessarily one. You could do this one literally just one step and try it. Get on your cat and get on your toes. Forward, back.
Or you could do skipping.
Or yeah, you probably.
She's doing it in place. Which
Perfect. That's good. In place is perfectly fine.
More control.
There we go. Awesome. Wow, she's pretty good at those.
You're so bouncy.
Nice.
Skipping rope all
Bess, that's good. Forward and back, that's the way. Switching the legs. Bess is like just making us all look bad, so. And she's sick. This is terrible. Stop showing off. Making us feel bad.
I like that she has drawn a figure 8 on her ladder.
I do too. I like she has a figure 8 on that ladder as well.
Infinity?
Yeah, you got the infinity. We're going to do these for infinity.
Turns out my feet don't know what a figure 8 looks like unless I have tape down.
Hey, you have figured out ways to help people on this all the way through for a year now, so I love it.
Oh yeah, this is why more people is more better, because then we find out more different ways that we can explain things, that people need to understand things, etc. We don't all learn the same.
So, but while she has them there, let's go ahead and we'll do some figure 8s. If you do not have the room to do a figure 8, you can also do them in loops. So first, we're going to show you the figure 8. The idea is we'll get right in the center of the ladder. We'll start moving forward and start going back around to the center and then back around the other way. You notice I'm keeping my back perfectly straight. Small feet is very important here. Okay, this is a long figure 8.
Yeah,
If you
have limited space, make it smaller.
If you have limited space, just go ahead and start somewhere in your ladder and go in one direction, circle, and go back to that space. One direction, circle, back into that space, and then change it. Go the other way.
Louis pulling out the cones here.
Perfect.
Sibert and William already got theirs down.
Awesome. Go ahead, Louis. Want to grab the center space there? Center right about.
William's doing a great job of little steps.
Go ahead and do a long figure 8 for him.
Doing lots of little steps.
There you go. Yeah.
And no crossing feet for the beginning.
Yeah, you can absolutely do it without crossing feet. Your feet just shuffle together.
If you make the rule at first to not cross your feet, it will help encourage the small steps that we try and work on.
We're going to switch them over to, in a minute or two, we're going to switch them over to how Sibert is doing his, and then what they're going to be is linear. So we're doing them kind of on a horizontal path right now. We'll do it on a vertical path in a second. Again, the key is that we don't want our body doing back and forth. You see, side's trying to keep it perfectly straight up and down. The lower legs are doing the work. So now,
You get a little bit coming around here
Yep.
that I'm trying to break myself up.
exactly. So the next one, the same thing, but now instead of side, we're facing this way and doing these long figure eights. We're going to face forward. So now we're just walking forward. We're taking some steps here.
Now a lot more forward and backwards, a little less side to side.
Again, you can concentrate on not crossing your feet. I'm very used to crossing my feet already, but it's actually taking more work not crossing my feet, but that's good.
More important is just left, right, left, right, left, right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you don't want to break your pattern of steps. Casey's using little dumbbells as cones, that works good.
Yeah, especially if she hits one, she really knows it. She goes T over kettle backwards. Germanicus, I think this is the first time you're doing these figure eights, I think, if I'm right. Yeah, good. So take your time. Yep, nice small steps. There we go. You can see Louis working on just changing it up. He's also changing speeds. So there's a lot going on here in what you can do in a figure eight. Tempo is one of those. You can change speeds. You can go fast to slow. Right. You can change.
Oh, we're back home.
There I go. There we go. Exactly.
I'm coming really hard
Really
this way for
far
some
out?
reason. Coming in way over here.
Oh, okay. Let's see how everyone else is doing. Watch turning your hips, Beth. Try to keep them straight up and down that ladder. Okay. Nice job, Sigrid. I see you're adding some stops in there. That's the way, Nessa. Take your time. Very nice.
Yeah, these will also build up that lateral stability we were talking about.
The big part on this is really using that balance forward and back. So really trust yourself, falling back. I'm just sitting down a little bit more. Sitting forward, sitting back now. All right, so we find this a lot. One reason why we did this is because we find this in fights a lot. It was something I started talking to Sigrid about, and Ronballer really helped put some technique behind it. We're still working on other things. You can do this as a flow drill. So if me and Louis were doing it together, we could change, not only, we're going to do the horizontal, so he's going to follow me. Yeah, there we go. See? There you see it. Right now we're starting the same speed. He's just following me. I push on the outside, then he pushes on my outside, and then I'm going to push on his outside. So the idea is we're changing that flow. Now we can change some speed. See, now go ahead, Louis. Exactly. So what's happening is we're creating a connection, and then he's changing some speed, I change those speeds. That's a much more advanced drill. You have to have the basic drill down first. So make sure you have the basic down first, otherwise you get caught up doing some speed changes and lose the drill. So, but the idea here is in a fight, what's happening is if I'm fighting Louis and he gives me some pressure, I could fall out and then I'm rolling right back into his corner. That's just a loop. Or if he presses this side, I flow and then I press back into his corner. It's not this. He presses me. Now I press him straight back. Right? Because I literally, as he presses me, I have to stop here. And then I got to move forward. Where if he presses me and I roll, now I can tension right back into his other corner. This is a much better solution in a roll. It keeps that motion going where he falls straight back, stops, and then he gets the bail and then I have to change.
Right. So when you went around the corner, what I felt was I took a step here and I was
Outside that
loaded
foot,
and
yeah.
knocked on this foot and shifted my weight there. So I can't stop him from going around my corner now.
Exactly. So that's why this becomes so important. But if he does this and he gets locked and loaded, he can throw it. Bang! And even if I block or stuff, I'm still stopped. And then he bails, and then I gotta go again. Right into his strength. It makes no sense. This is adding this flowing motion to your fight. So this is, I think, a really, really nice drill. This actually, in the end, helps us create flow and connection with your opponent. The more you understand that, the more you can let go of everything else in your head, and real flow comes out of it. In other words, it just naturally happens. The dance you don't have to think about. And it leaves opportunities for quick thought because you don't have anything else you're thinking about. But the key here is we have to get comfortable in that connection. And building a connection and practicing connection is difficult. So this gives us an idea, a way to do that. So, all right, well, I think that was a good day for going over all the basics. For everybody else online, we just have to create a graphic. We have all of our Sundays actually on YouTube now. And we'll put up today's on YouTube as well.
Are they public and viewable yet?
No, so I just wanted to put a graphic on the front of those. And we have a nice graphic.
We do?
Yeah, it's that one with me, you, Louie, and Bob.
All right.
And then we just have we could just use that, or we could blank it out, whatever. And let's put some lettering over it saying Sunday drills. And we'll post them up online. That way, if you guys have people that want to watch, you can point them to it. It'll be on the SCA Coach's Corner.
Yeah, we'll put them in one nice big playlist. Find all of them forever.
Because I've noticed that the Facebook playlists are actually hard to find, even when you search them.
Yeah.
So, and they're misordered, which is hard too, because we've gone through a lot of stuff in the past year where we built on stuff in the second portions of practice. So.
Right, they come back maybe filtered by popularity.
Oh, that could be. Oh, that's I was wondering
on
how they
YouTube,
did that.
We can just list them all
In order.
with dates. You
Yep.
can find whatever you want.
If possible, though, what would be nice is if anybody wants to start taking a look at those and kind of give a description of like, okay, normal ladder work, rotational work, and then we worked on, let's say, flow, or we worked on thought, or we worked on empty mind, or that second part of the practice, we always worked on something different. It'd be great if we can get a description of each. That way people, as they're seeing them, they'll be like, hey, I want to see what they talk about when they talk empty mind, how they practice that. So that way they could just look at the description and go to the ones that make the most sense.
It's hard for just one or two of us to sit and go back through every single one and do that. So we can, it'll just take a long time. If anyone else, feels like helping, or if you find yourself watching an old one for some reason, you can like jot down the quick notes or even just comment on the video with it and we'll put it in the description.
You may want to upload that set that Abelard put together, the PDF that he had for the footwork to go with that as well.
Okay. I don't think you can do that in YouTube or into.
Well, maybe you can link to it in the comment if it's a Google Doc or something like that.
If he's got it in, a publicly shared Google Doc or something, we can link to it.
I have the link. So.
Okay, as long as someone has the link.
Yeah, I have the link because Dane sent it to me.
Okay.
So
yes, we can do that. When is the next Sunday that we're going to be broadcasting?
So the good part is we have internet access at the school.
Like Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi. So we can actually do that at school. I'm going to see about doing it on the stage, and that way we can, people who want to do it, we can totally go ahead and shoot for next Sunday, because right now I'm stuck doing feet because of my shoulder, so still rehabbing. So we can totally go through and do that. And I'll just post it up and join if you want.
What time? What time?
I think, what time's those practices start? At noon now?
I thought we did it for 1.
I think
1?
PM.
1 to 4?
1 or 2. I thought it was 1. Was it 1 or 2 that we started?
It was 5 and
2 to
then,
1.
or 2 to 4, and then we were going to do 1 to 4.
Okay.
Do 1 PM. We will hit up the group chat with the details like the day of or the day before, just to be sure. But the plan should be next week, 1 o'clock. All right, with that, goodbye, Facebook. We love you.
Thanks, everybody. Looking forward to another good year. Well, looking forward to a better year. How's that?
Yeah.